Welcome back to another episode of the IFC's When Destiny Calls. I am Dr. Lahab Al-Samarrai. With me today, as always, Christy Foster is here. And today, on the brink of Valentine's Day, Christy has an idea. Christy, what is your idea for our Valentine's Day special episode?
Well, I thought it'd be very fitting to talk about the lover archetype today
Mm,
and honor all the lover archetypes because they bring us so much beauty and music and poetry and writing. And we'll talk about both the light and shadow of the lover archetype. So we better understand these people.
good. So I'm going to talk about the dark of the lover archetype, and you could talk about the light in the lover archetype.
Perfect.
You know who we need. You know who we're missing today. We're missing
April.
Lance, because Lance has a lot of ideas about the lover archetype. We should hit him up next time we're going to do the lover archetype.
Yes, we will do that.
So we are remembering our friend Lance. We haven't talked to him in a while. I'd like to hear his voice, but Lance, if you're out there listening, we miss you, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about the lover archetype. Let's talk about the lover archetype. So what is the lover archetype? What is the lover archetype? The lover archetype is the creation of Eros, or of creation itself. So when we think of the archetype of the lover, we're thinking of creation. Because what is it to have the lover archetype? The lover archetype represents what? Fertility, creation, love, hope, joy.
I would say community as well.
Community.
They're fun to be around. They're enjoyable. They create laughter. And they are able to help us feel and touch into the parts of us that I think some of us might have difficulty accessing. The lover archetype, through their writing or through their music, through their art, touch parts of us that I think that's a gift of the archetype.
So Marilyn Monroe,
Definitely
lover
a lover.
archetype. That's what we
Yeah.
mean by lover archetype, is that childhood innocence that's complicated by you're an adult. But the lover archetype does that very easily. They pull that off very, very swiftly. That maneuver for them is very easy. They are both innocent and aware. They are both holding and withholding at the same time. And so when they are in good spirits, you could feel them all around you.
Yes, I love being around the lover archetype because I laugh more. I relax. It's so much easier to relax in the space of a lover archetype. For me, that's my experience. It's just pleasurable. And your friend, he did the documentary, George, is the
Yes.
lover archetype.
George is a great symbol of the lover archetype.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't
Really
see
good
himself
example.
as a lover archetype because he's a war correspondent and he's on the front lines. And so when we think of the lover archetype, we're not thinking of somebody who's like hosting tea parties. The lover archetype is a lot more complicated. The lover archetype can exist within any type of institution. Some of the institutions they will gravitate towards. Like the military is not one of them.
No.
But they do exist within these ranks. They're rare, but it's different. Right? So the lover archetype, they coined a phrase from the 70s, make love, not war. That's the lover archetype. That's a statement that's direct from the lover archetype. not the magician, not the king queen archetype, not the warrior. This comes directly from the lover archetype. We have a lot of lover archetype sayings in our midst, right? Love your fellow man or woman. Love your neighbor. These are all from the lover archetype.
So Mother Teresa, I'm thinking of her with taking care of so many human beings and humanity, and also George as well.
Ooh.
Is that part of the lover? Because
Yes.
their concern for humanity is great.
Yes. Well, it depends where they put their energy, right? The lover archetype can put it into relationships and moving in and out of relationships, or can put it in one grand relationship. So a grand relationship would be something that's bigger than just me.
Mhm.
It encompasses humanity. Martin Luther King, lover archetype, right?
Great example. Also taking violence out, and Gandhi.
Muhammad Gandhi, lover archetype.
Mhm.
I mean, he refused to fight the British Empire. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't need to fight. Okay, we just won't do anything. And he shut it down. It was basically a silent protest.
I would think that people would assume that they don't have as much power. Like a warrior, we would experience their power like just in their energy field, or a queen, very different type of power for the lover.
Yes. Well, the lover's power, this is where the lover and magician irritate each other. The lover's power is in the use of magic.
Magic
So,
representing
well,
their creation.
for the magician, the magic that they use is the magician feels or thinks it's irresponsible.
Yes.
They do it frivolously. They do it for fun. They do it not because they should. They do it because they want to. So these are all irritations with the magician, right? The magician is really irritated with that.
Yes, it's not productive. And that's why I love having friends that are lovers, for that very reason, because it's a counterbalance for me to not be so serious and to play and laugh and have more creativity.
Yes. So yeah, play and laughter are very important. You could tell when a party is a real party
If the lover shows
if
up.
the lover shows up. The lovers are the ones who put the fun in party,
Mm.
because they will disarm the warriors. They will alarm the magicians, and they will either irritate or please the kings and queens. So they have everybody busy,
Is that
focused
intentional?
on them.
Is that intentional?
That's the energy.
Is to gather.
That's the archetype's energy. That's
Okay.
how the archetype enters the room, right? We talk about the archetypes, and we talk about them in form of a human form, but that's how they enter the room. That's their energy. The magician enters the room, is like, who the hell is that? That's the
Or
energy.
they don't know. Yeah.
Well, no, that's what people say. It's like, who the hell is that? Or that person doesn't look like they belong here. Or who's that weird person who just entered? Or I don't understand. I thought this was everybody knows each other. Something like that.
I can see that.
But the lover enters, The energy is focused on the lover, and they like it that way. This is how it works. They like all the energy focused on them. And if the energy is not focused on them, they get bored and they move forward. They move on from you. So if anybody has ever moved on from you and you still want them back, that's the lover archetype. You don't want them as human beings back in your life. Maybe, I don't know. But
You're wanting the archetype.
Probably not. But you want the energy of the archetype back in your life. That's what you want. That's what Valentine's Day brings.
Yeah.
Is the energy of the archetype. What is the energy of the archetype? Chocolates, flowers. What are these things? These are things that make us feel frivolous.
Yeah.
They excite us, but they don't weigh us down. They make us feel lighter. We feel prettier. Somebody brings us flowers. Christy, I don't know about you, but I
love getting flowers.
Yeah, I love getting flowers too. I think it's fantastic. But what is this idea? It's a dead plant. They basically cut it from its root and they're giving it to you. They're giving you a dead plant. And you're like, wow, they gave me a dead plant, but it has colors. It looks pretty. No, it smells nice.
I've not thought of it as a dead plant.
Is part of the lover archetype. There's a reason why people sell flowers. When you see flowers being sold, you're talking to the lover archetype. When you have a day that represents love, you're talking about the lover archetype. Even if it's a made-up day, the lover made it up.
Still there.
It's their day. They made it up. So if you don't participate in Lover's Day or Valentine's Day, then you are not connected to the lover archetype. And there's something whimsical. I think Christy brought it up. They're fun.
Yeah. Well, and I find it interesting, the different comments that I hear about Valentine's Day as I see clients. And my son the other day, for example, we went to the store and he was buying some flowers for Valentine's Day for his girlfriend. And he kept adding to the list. I said, I don't understand why you're buying this now. Valentine's Day is in a few days. He said, Mom, there's a whole list of rules about how to ask and what to do and what you're supposed to buy. I said, there's a list. And so he went over and told me what it is that the lover needs to do to have a lover. Which what is the
list? I am fascinated. What is the list? Tell me that.
I have no idea there was a list. So you have to woo your partner, whoever that is, that
lover made it up,
and give them gifts and tell them how beautiful and wonderful they are.
Yes.
So they'll be your Valentine.
Yes. So you're praying to the archetype. This is called worship of the archetype, right? How do we worship the archetype? We worship it through what its core energy is. And what is this core energy? To have you perform the rituals of love.
Yeah.
That's like a prayer. So if you think of Valentine's as a holy day, that's your prayer.
Well, and I find it fascinating too, the archetypes that are not lovers get really irritated with Valentine's Day.
Of course.
And the warrior I've heard the warriors say, I hate that day. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense that you would have to show someone you love
it's in the back of their mind. It keeps them occupied. They're irritated by it. At the same time, they're trying to outwit it. They're trying to outmaneuver it. They're trying to out-strategize.
Yeah. And it still exists regardless.
Exactly, because
of what we think.
Because the energy is participating in it. Whether you hate it or love it, it's the same thing. You are participating in the thing that I asked you to participate in. I'd rather you participate with love, but if you're going to participate with hate, then I rather you participate than not participate at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite fascinating, Valentine's Day. And the different reactions.
Well,
to it.
so we react differently to the energy of Eros, right? And we're
Yeah.
not talking about Eros, the little god with wings who flies around and shoots arrows. We're talking about Eros. Eros is the energy of that which gives life.
Which we are all a part of.
Exactly. So when you're in
Yeah.
love, you feel great. You feel top of the world because Eros has touched you, right? So when Eros touches you, that's when you feel like you are full of life. And the shadow aspect of that, or the dark aspect of that, is what? That Eros doesn't touch you. And therefore, you're full of despair. Being full of despair. So that's the other axis.
And I would think a lover archetype with shadow, despair, and quite a bit of depression and manipulation. Wanting to get that
Depression,
feeling back.
manipulation, poor me. A lot of poor me.
Mm.
Nobody loves
Because they're
me.
not feeling, nobody loves me, nobody
Nobody
cares.
loves me. Nobody cares for me. Nobody asks about me. That's the lover in despair.
And everyone, because I've heard those comments out of warriors specifically. So
Different.
is that
Different with the warriors? Like nobody cares because I'm useless. I'm not me anymore. That's why people don't care. It's different. That's how it's different.
okay? So in a lover, they're needing someone to need them.
They have to be needed. If they're not needed, it's an emotional drain, it's despair.
And how would that look? Like, just give us an example in a relationship. How would that look?
In a relationship between two archetypes. So if in a
Yeah.
relationship between a warrior and a lover, the lover is depressed. The warrior is bereft of energy. They're exhausted. They have no energy to give. And the lover is in despair.
That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yes.
Because I would think that that would create a lot of disruption and the perceptions would be off about why someone would be upset in the relationship. And
Well,
they
yes,
wouldn't
because the
understand
lover
it.
usually is the one who explains emotions and feelings and how to feel and how to think about feeling.
So what if you have a
So
lover?
if you meet a lover, the lover is the one who's sitting across from you, telling you about your relationship and how special your relationship is, or how that's how there's a nuance about it, about how they talk about it. It's personal. It's almost like it's theirs. It's not theirs, but that's how they talk about it.
Well, and that would be why we feel so connected to the lover.
Well,
Because
they're connected
personal.
to life.
Yeah.
You know, it's that jolt of energy that you get. That's why when the lover enters the room, everybody looks around and stares at them.
And they don't know why they're staring.
Well, they don't. It's because it's the energy. They're not staring. Like, they could be beautiful, like Marilyn Monroe is beautiful.
Yeah.
Or Mother Teresa is not a beautiful woman. But they stare. There's a reason they stare, because it's energy. It's that energy that they bring with them. Because what happens is the lover knows how to ride their energy. They know it's there. They know it's theirs. They know how to move with it. They know how to touch it. They know how to be touched by it. Usually a lover who's been traumatized is weary and second guesses everything about how they move in the world because they're disembodied.
And that's the despair.
The despair is consumption. I will consume something else because I can't consume love. Because I am being consumed. Right?
So would they have a higher rate of addiction?
Yes.
A lover archetype?
Yes.
Because
Eating
that-
disorders.
If
Lover
there's been
archetype.
trauma.
Absolutely trauma.
Yeah.
Eating disorders are because of trauma. And usually the archetypal pattern of the being is usually lover.
And so how would, if someone has that, how would they start to step into a more embodied space of the energy of the lover? How would they recognize that if they're looking for it?
They would
Or to
recognize
create it?
they would recognize it because it's second nature to them. They recognize it every day, but it's so far away from them because they can't feel it. They basically fall out of feeling it. So the other end of the axis is pulling you towards it. The other end of the axis is like gripping you and pulling you into despair. So this other end, which is the energy of creation, is so far away. But it's not. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. It's there.
Yeah.
It's not. But it seems like. And so for the lover, that's what, being lost. So how do you come from being lost is like, well, I need my energy back. I need treatment. Treatment for the lover is essential for them to get their energy back.
And I think also treatment helps people feel their magic, feel the essence of the lover. Because if they are disconnected, I don't think they even have any idea the space. You say it's away from them, and together to come back into their bodies and actually start to even feel their human body.
Yes, you can't feel the energy without the human body. We are humans.
And
that's the trick. That's the trick. We are not the archetype. We are humans.
Yes.
The energy of the archetypal energy flows through us, but we are human. We are essentially human. That energy moves us in certain ways and takes us into certain positions and gives us certain words or phrases or ideas. Like, I want to address the magicians in the crowd who have created AI. What the hell are you doing? You lost your minds. But that's what's happened. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, what if we created something magical that creates magic? Oh, that's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. I don't know. It's a terrible idea. I know it sounds good. At the beginning, it sounds very intriguing. It's like, yeah, that sounds fun. Oh, we can do all kinds of things with that. Yeah.
Very,
anyway.
It's dangerous though, because it gets out of hand. And
oh, hell yeah, it gets out of hand so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And then what?
Yes. You've let the genie out of the bottle. Now what? Well, it can't do that much harm. Sure it can.
Right. It continues
you don't
to
know
replicate.
what kind of harm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does the lover do? What is the creation? What is the creation of the lover? Perfume.
And poetry.
Clothes.
Art.
Wine.
Yeah. Food. Yes. Making things beautiful, pleasurable. The little details, I
Very,
think,
very
are a
little.
big part of the lover.
Very, very much.
Yeah.
You could walk into a lover's house, you know it's a lover's house. Why?
Because what would you see?
You would see everything that represents warmth,
Mm,
that invites you in. You will
which
smell
makes sense.
something sensual.
And it would
That's
settle you. It's like walking into it is a spell in a way.
oh, absolutely. This is where the magicians get really irritated. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is
Yeah.
that.
Because that's what they're using. They're using magic. They're calling it love.
And we use that language all the time. I fell under their spell.
Yes.
We speak that language so easily without being aware of
Well,
what we're
that's the
speaking.
archetype, right? It's like we speak the language of war. There's
Yeah.
a language of love.
There is a language of love.
Yeah. Yeah, you put
Which
a
is
spell on it.
enjoyable because it soothes the nervous system.
It changes everything.
Yeah. Very
Changes
positive.
everything. I mean, if you remember when you were a teenager and you first fell in love, wow, it's like a nuclear weapon went off inside of you. You were like, nothing would be ever the same.
Yeah.
It's like the first time you really enjoyed ice cream. Like there's nothing like this. It's the first time. It's the first time that feeling state of love. It's so overwhelming. It overwhelms every sense that you use. Everything starts to revolve around it. It's like you are in a spell, that you're possessed.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do to fight it. Like you try to fight it, but it's like, oh, no, I give up. I didn't mean that.
You really can't fight it.
You can't fight it.
No.
You can't fight it. And that's what happens, right?
I think that's lovely because it's nice to be in that feeling that I'm sure most every human being has had at one point of falling in love is priceless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So if you've ever been jilted by a lover archetype,
which probably is many people. Because
when you have been
curious-
jilted, you know that something has been ripped away from you. You are so pissed.
Yeah.
Because not only is the feeling of the other gone, it's the feeling you had is gone. Because they provide insulation that you didn't have. If you are another archetype, they provided an insulation you didn't have. You thought it was naturally there. No. That's because they were there. So when you feel betrayal, oh, it's huge. You hate them. But still, if they walked into a room and they smiled at you and for an instant, you would be fooled. You're like, oh, maybe they're nicer. No, I remember. For an instant.
Yeah, hopefully you remember. So would a lover type archetype that is in shadow or disembodied, I would think that part of their addiction, if we call it that, is to find new lovers all the time, to get that feeling and that.
Well, yeah, that's the vampire, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other end, right? So the lover is a giver. Like they can accommodate several people. They could sit around and make all the people around them feel good, happy, included, seen, even make them think they're cute. Lovers have a tendency to do that. Magicians hate that.
True. They can do that.
But the lovers feel like magicians are slobs and they don't like to take care of themselves. So anyway, so we get back to the lover. The lover gives that energy all around them, it emits from them. If you've been around a embodied lover, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Their smile, their words. They make great con artists, by the way. That's the other
Well, they
thing
would, 'cause you would
magicians
test
hate.
them.
Not that magicians don't do that, but they do it in a different way. They don't call it con artistry. They just call it like, anyway, the irritations among magic. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
you can
can
feel
see
their
that.
presence. Their presence is known, and they like their holiday, and they like to have it. They like a lot of flair to it.
I think that's healthy for us to
Yeah.
have a holiday like Valentine's Day
Yeah.
and add some love in the world in
Yeah.
whatever capacity that is, to the self or to others, to enjoy the lightness instead of worrying so much about everything.
Well, you know, love has torn nations apart. They have fought over love. Love of a woman, Helen of Troy. You want to talk about the lover causing catastrophe?
It's a good example.
Not because they wanted to. That's their energy. It's not. It's the archetypal energy. It's not like they're sitting there going, I'm going to cause havoc. They don't even know what they're doing. The energy is moving and swirling so fast. When they realize what they've done, it's usually in hindsight. It's usually like a magician who created AI in hindsight. Shit, I shouldn't have done that.
And it's already over. Yeah. Well, this month, may we enjoy more of the lover.
Well,
and I also think to embody the lover, we all have that aspect in us.
Yeah.
And to play with it and maybe buy some flowers or wear something that you would wear.
Yeah, I
Do something
encourage play. I agree with you, Christy.
Yeah.
We
We
encourage
get
play.
too stuck. Except the lovers probably don't.
Enjoy hope, joy,
Yeah.
love, creation. And if you need an excuse like Valentine's Day to do it, because this is what creation means. Creation is play. Play is transformation. This is how creation works. So, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. We've enjoyed this conversation about the lover archetype. And Christy, any thoughts before we ride off into the sunset?
Yeah. On we think it's doing more pleasure and more play because it's a time and place that we can all participate. We don't need a reason why. It's placed on on February 14th for us to enjoy being loved and loving others.
Well, thank you very much. And thank all of you. We will be back next week. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.